What the fuck is up? You see the title, you see the vibe, you see the frequency. I'm on my Willie Nelson shit today. I'm on my fucking American Patriot shit today. Because I'm about to do something really fucking helpful. I know you didn't ask for this because you guys are never ahead, but I am. Great news is coming into me. Me and my husband are finally set to go on the tour 6 months later. I digress. God's plan. But this next portion of the year is going to be super, super special. Because if you didn't think we were about to be on the interior going within, you were very fucking mistaken. And so, the reason I'm here today is because Saturn begins its beautiful retrograde for what looks like to be from July 13th to November 27th. So, Saturn retrograde is going to have us really reflecting on themes of responsibility, structure, and spiritual surrender. I've already told you there's so much shit on this archive that I've had to shit and fart and throw up for you guys to let you know about what that could look like. But the biggest overview that I want to tell you is like expect that the remainder of the current year that we are in the terms of the Gregorian calendar will look very different than maybe what you had thought, because there will be thematics from the universe that force everyone to focus on their individual lives. So when we're working with Saturn, a retrograde is a great time, especially in Saturn, to do the work you have not put into place. So what I have decided to give in one sitting, in one day, is all 12 zodiac sign specific fat ass messages. I'm not gonna limit how long these are. This is literally what looks like almost 5 months of time. So I really want to give each zodiac archetype their specific 5 month overview guidance in the form of a tarot spread about what each of you will be working on so that you can have me, because I'm going to go on tour ski, and a tour ski, might I add you, that has a very big work deliverable. So I will have to be disciplined with myself that I can't keep dumpioning onto the YouTube archive, because great things are happening. My prayers are answered, and Tethered Studios and Dolphin Boy Records are going to the next phase, which isn't just getting people to not think we're frauds. It's time to actually build the structure, because we've been in the trenches for a few years now. So while many of you are just now beginning some of this new work, we wanted to make sure we don't leave you high and dry. So please utilize this 12 series archive as you're dealing with people, dealing with yourself, looking through your birth chart. You can find endless amounts of information in this. So I'm going to do my usual. We put the little pieces of paper together. If you've never seen me before, hi, my name's the Holy Cow. What we do here is we take 12 zodiac signs, we put them on a piece of paper, I shuffle them right here so you know that the message is live and direct. I pull the fucking zodiac sign, I do your spread, you get blessed, you get to keep something that belongs to you for literally, like I said, till November 27th. We got a long ass time in this bitch, right? We're in what season right now? Cancer season? So all the way till Sag season, proper first week in Sag season. It's a lot of fat ass amount of time, but trust and believe, don't say I've ever lied to you, you'll be needing as much internal guidance, and because I will not be literally available, because I'm not going to overwork myself to just do what I've been doing here, all the work that I'm doing here is going to be transferred to what the tour requires of me, which is pretty much full-time work. So very blessed and excited for that, but like I said, I care about you bitches, so I'm going to give this before we roll out. So thank you to whatever sign that let me get that out for the first 3 minutes. Let's see who's starting off our Saturn retrograde series. I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a fat ass jug of water. Matter of fact, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. All right, let's see who we got. I'm seeing an empty wasp nest right in front of me. It's raining outside. I'm looking out of my window right now. Empty wasp's nest. Oh, well. I don't pick favorites. Scorpio, you're up first. Scorpio. Scorpions. I was sitting up here thinking about an empty wasp nest, which is funny because wasps have stingers. My Scorpio friends have stingers. But the wasp nest is abandoned. It's empty. So maybe we're done with our fucking waspy ways. You know what I mean? Maybe we need to have some time. Maybe you should chat GPT, Scorpio, the wasp spirit message, the spirit message of the wasp. Matter of fact, pause. Go look at that. Go look at what the medicine of that animal is right now. Okay, anyways, Scorpio, welcome. I love you guys. Thank you guys for starting me off with this beautiful, beautiful Saturn retrograde message. I've got you guys from July 13th to November 27th. I really want to make sure that you have the information from Saturn channeled to you so that you can have that step by step, because like I said, Alexis is going to be unavailable to be doing what I usually do. You know, don't expect that I'm just be popping out. I got other shit I got to worry about. I got fucking a lot of shit to do. So I'm here for you, Scorpio. You have my undivided attention. Thank you for being here with me. We just have 2 decks right now. It's super, super basic, super, super obvious. I'm just going to read the cards and give you the message that I get. Like I said, this is about the overview of the whole month. Please revisit this as much as you need. Also, like I said, if you have never looked up your birth chart, you should print out your birth chart and look at what placements and planets you have and what sign, and then you can get a really, really specific read whenever you need. And so, like I said, I'm here to help you guys become more spiritually literate in things like the cosmos. So definitely do that for sure, because you may have more than just Scorpio in your chart, and it would be really helpful to have a bigger picture of what God is really trying to communicate to you through these wonderful next 5 months of time, to where you can really get some great work done. So Scorpio, I just want to give you so much love. You know how I feel. I mean, you know how I feel. It's the 13th day. I'm doing the scorpionic shit. You know me. You can see the scorpion in me. So, anyways, shout out Scorpios. So, let's go ahead and put my binder down, and I'm just going to get comfy and do my reader thing. Oh, Scorpio. Yeah, the wasp nest is empty. You know what I mean? Perhaps it was we used to have a community of bitches that we would actually congregate together, and it was it's kind of giving trauma bond. It's kind of giving we just sting each other and wound each other. I think you're over that. I think you're over that phase where it's fun and cute and kitschy to get around with your bitches and really sting each other. You know what I mean? And I think Scorpio, you don't have to keep. I know you are the truth, but you don't have to it doesn't have to be heavy truth that you're always constantly administering into spaces to where you're not keeping your peace or feeling safe. So I think the work that Saturn's going to have you do is really, like I said, it's a lightning for you, Scorpio. That's what I get, is you don't have to be in the hive mentality anymore. It's kind of the frequency. You know what I mean? Because look, I just kind of saw, here's Scorpio, King of Cups, right? But then look at all these, this is the hive. This is all the bitches that keeping a bunch of people around you that really do just sting. You know what I mean? It's like a hornet's nest that's right here. It's not it's not a proper beehive. It's a hornet's nest, actually, I'm looking at, So yeah, so having the ability to kind of tap into your Mars energy and kind of just initiating that fire, that really transmuting, kind of more of a phoenix rising frequency than really being in the trenches. I'm also really seeing the eagle spirit, right? So a lot of you may or may not know, but the high vibration of Scorpio is also the eagle, right? So it's also kind of about taking flight for you the next 5 months, lifting off from, like I said, I feel you had there was you used to be really connected to, this is just deep spirit intuition, but just you used to be really connected to this concept of just I'm a stinger, because again, the old paradigm that you were coming from, you were the villain, wrongfully discriminated against, judged for being scorpionic, for being exactly what God designed you to be. And so perhaps the community that you had around you, that you were learning love from, was always, one way. It was always that, these are the guys, I'm getting even just in an interpersonal level. This is deeply intimate. It's how you deal with one another. It's the jokes that aren't really jokes, the digs that aren't really digs, the undercuts that aren't really loving, the JK that's not really a JK. I think that kind of, because I'm telling you, the shit is abandoned, and I think perhaps that community you've all probably worn each other out. Scorpio, you're right here with me, but it's you've already all kind of worn out that, we've all kind of need to leave that behind, because it's desolate now. But in that regard, it frees you up to think of yourself as a whole entity, and like I said, maybe taking that higher octave of the eagle, right? Shout out Paul White Gold Eagle. Shout out my brother. You know what I mean? Shout out Divine Brothar of the light, But maybe that's what you need to realize, is that it's time to really go into that higher, bird with a spiritual vision view. You know what I mean? And I see, I just, when I think of the eagle, I think of what the eagle needs to survive, which is just you're going to be really covering a lot of beautiful land. You're really going to be soaring over, the majesty of this planet in such a spiritual way. And I think it's just going to be really loving, because I don't think you have ever been introduced to that, Maybe that's what we'll title it. Scorpion becomes the eagle. That's your message. Hold on, I'm writing that down for you. So beautiful. It's all intuitive. It's literally just from staring at an empty wasp's nest. But I'm really glad you started us off, I really am. I just love you guys, So anyways, Scorpio, let's do your reading. Let's see what the heart of your message is for the Saturn retrogrades. Scorpio, you're in your fucking bag, dude. Do you know what came out? Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords. Yeah? God is gifting you your spiritual truth. Today, July 13th through November 27th. This is all about how you're going to build a new structure, how you're going to be surrendering and submitting to the will of the divine, and how you're going to really be redefining what your real responsibilities are now that God has given you your spiritual truth. I think for a lot of you Scorpios, I don't even think you felt like this type of communication from the divine whatever even it was even I don't think it's something you thought was for you. I think you know the truth, but I think knowing your truth, like knowing like, oh, it's not just about like truth seeking out in the world or like discerning out in the world all the time. Like I have a truth, and it has a lot to do with this root message is like you needing to separate yourself. I think there was a previous way that you were defining success, which is perfectly fine. I think this success was proven. I think it served the purpose it served. But I think, it kind of would take the divine bursting in and giving you a new beginning, a new truth. This is like, maybe this is your new truth. Like I said, I feel like Scorpio has transformed into the eagle, right? 11:11, I just saw. It's a synchronicity. You've transformed now, right? Because I think that was pretty destined. You are the sign that governs our transformation. So it was like always destined that maybe like and I've been channeling that the zodiac signs are going to like transform into new archetypes. I've been thinking about Capricorns in that way, thinking about Leos a lot in that way, I've been thinking about Aquarians in that way, right? So there's a lot of other signs that I think that like these kinds of things could be happening where it's like, even the ancient archetypes have updates. And this is like a huge system update for you, right? Because look at you, Scorpio. At the bottom of the deck, it's like this guy. It's motive. You only get this new spiritual truth because you did do the separating. You did distinguish yourself, or the world has distinguished you, right? Maybe what you always thought was like you being put down, you being othered, you being discriminated against. Like I think this spiritual truth comes in is like it is that turning moment where it's like oh. It's not a bad thing. Like I said, if the fucking hornets have left your hive and they kind of it's deserted now. I think the funny thing is you thought you were being deserted, but actually it was you who was being separated because you have a new truth, And I think that's kind of the high view of what you're experiencing right now, right? That Cap full moon kind of gave the summation of how like the old is really collapsing. You're saying your final goodbyes. You're doing your last jig. You're doing the last little rodeo of it all. But it was to separate you. I think you can naturally see it. I think you can't even hide it anymore. It's like when you walk into a room, Scorpio, this is what I'm seeing with your frequencies. Like you walk into a room, especially if it's an old room full of old affiliates, right? It's like, you're just so separate by design. And I think people can pick that up with you. Maybe they've had fictitious, like, well, what's going on with you? What you changing? And it's not even about what it is. And it's not something light. Like Scorpio, it's not even about people. It's not even about a thing it's not even like a new hobby you have. It's not even about career. You are transforming into an entirely new archetype altogether. And when we talk about Scorpions, you're really going to be on your eagle shit. You're really going to be on your shit. You know what I mean? Sharpshooter shit. Because after a lifetime of getting so good at discerning, what do you think? What's the next step? What's the next level of growth for you? Eagles got that, they can zero in like that, that kind of hawk frequency, bro. Shout out Seattle, you hawks up, bro. That's what you're on, bro. This is Scorpio. This is you right now. You're like I'm not even kidding with you. I don't know. I'm just looking at this. This is like these are the animals that are coming into my head. But that is maybe it'll come out later. But on the world card, the actual like tarot card of the world arcana, which is about completion, successful completion, it affects the 4 fixed signs. The 4 fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. And we are fixed energy, meaning like we like hold an anchor in things in order to like do things over time. But on the world card, Scorpio is represented by its other alternative animal signature, which is the eagle. So again, hawk, eagle frequencies. That's your new vibe. That's your new vibe. You've transcended being the person that has to teach people pain. Now you're the person that can teach people to have that grand view, to be light. You're basically an air sign. It's Age of the Aquarian. It's like basically you're an air nomad now. Fuck the water, bro. You've transformed. You're like, I don't want to be in the water no more. I'm telling you, Scorpio, I hope this is because it's like you're out of the fucking, you're like, you're literally breathing for the first time. I feel like Scorpio, like I said, your whole body's transformed. You got lungs now. You got wings on your back now. Now you're flying, bro. You're covering ground that you've never covered before. And that's something that I'm here to channel to you today. That's your new spiritual truth. It's like you've never covered this ground before. Literally never. So beautiful. Let's see what's crossing the spiritual truth for you, Scorpio, for Saturn retrograde. Wow. Exactly. Because when we talk about going from the Three of Swords to the Four of Swords, right? I think you spend a lot of your life, Scorpio, in the Three of Swords, which is discerning. You spend a lot of time with people in your interpersonal relationships. And I think this is like an outgrowing thing. This is something that you're realizing. I think something that is so true for you came into your life that it actually made you reassess how, like, wait, okay, I think I've outgrown this though, where it's like when I meet something or when I'm connecting with another energy, what I want to do is like pierce their heart immediately, like sting them with my stinger to see like if they bleed, because I think that was your method for telling who's actually like family or who's for you, or who, you know what I mean? You used to think that I mean, it's not used to, it's like that is one way to vet out like if something's really for you, right? Like if you hurt someone, right? And you're trying to figure out if you hurt someone who unconditionally loves you and you hurt someone who like conditionally loves you, right? You're going to get two different responses. So now this spiritual truth comes in, and now it's completely different, because with this person, it's like, you don't even need to like exacerbate like it didn't work. Like, I mean, what I'm getting is like this new truth, you tried to do the other thing and it like it wasn't even, it's not even that it didn't work as in like you're unsuccessful in like piercing their heart. I'm sure you probably did a fucking number on their heart space, I'm sure, but it's like, it's almost like it's not just that it didn't work, it's not needed. That's not what's needed for this new set of community, this new set of connections, this new phase of your life. This new phase of your life is about mental stability and mental and acuity, right? You can only, this person, do you see how tight this space is? They're showing me like MRI, CAT scan, like when you have to get a CAT scan. I'm telling you, there may have even been things that like in the past, like certain pains were like residually like doing, and this is about God coming and really divinely rehabilitating your situation. So take the synchronicities of this message as you hear them, you know what I mean? But if you were going through something like that, where you're going through like a tight tube, like this is something the eagle understands. This is this type of posture where you don't want to lift up and hurt yourself, puncture yourself, right? You don't want to do that. You're armored up, but you don't want to lift up from out of this, on this table, and receive any sort of pain. And I feel like the eagle is able to do that, right? Like the eagle is able to, when it comes to eating, when it comes to hunting, when it comes to like connecting, when it comes to just like communicating and doing their spiritual work as well as a spirit animal, a lot of it has to do with that acuity, that accuracy, that only you could slide right through that space, right? And so when this came in, I feel like it's something reflected outside of you that mirrors your new truth. And again, I think it promoted you to go past the Three of Swords now. Like I said, this is why it kind of feels like I'm no longer the Scorpion, I'm the eagle. You know what I mean? Because this new thing, this new Ace of Swords, which came from God, it didn't come from anywhere else. You didn't have to manipulate your way into it. This isn't even something that maybe was even on but this got introduced to you, Scorpio. And so Saturn retrograde, you're going to be getting so much mental stability, because this new truth doesn't stab you. You see what I'm saying? This new truth isn't here to puncture your heart. It doesn't need to go through your heart at all. This new truth wants to support you, wants you to actually lay it down. You transitioning to the eagle in your life is going to help you lay it down. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying, Scorpio? We're so synced up. We're so tapped in. Scorpio, I've been getting with you guys too, especially with all the last readings that we've been doing. How much like you guys believe me. Like I don't have to talk to you guys like, do you believe in magic? Do you? No, you guys are like, your messaging has been like, you guys like take over my frequency, but you also like really just want me to talk really specifically, like really sharply. It's very eagle. You want me to be like, no, Alexis, say something really fucking specific right now that only I would fucking be like, oh, is she like in the room? So I'm doing that stuff with you guys because we've got that Raporsky. But Saturn retrograde is beautiful, because I just feel like the next 5 months are all about rehabilitation. Truly. No matter how long it takes to get to this place, like I want to give you this message now that you are already the eagle, because I think too, even if you're closing up karma, even if, okay, because Saturn retrograde, right? You're going back for the work that you could have put in place depending on how well you listen to Saturn's guidance the first time around. And so I think if I could tell you anything, whatever you're approaching, 1919, right? The sun card, there's prophecy that you're approaching. There's things that are already in place. There's things that you're looking ahead in your year that you know you're going to do. But whether that's in your family dynamics, right? In your own home, right? With your children, your family, your friends, if you have them, with your work, right? If I can give you anything, is like approach it as the eagle now. You know what I mean? Because I think there's something about going back to the Scorpion archetype You know what I mean? That kind of would make you just be, I think you're cleaning up a lot of mess this Saturn retrograde, where it's like you didn't know you were going to be transforming to a literal, a different spirit animal. You didn't know that that was going to happen. Kind of like when the caterpillar goes to a butterfly. It's like a completely different archetype altogether. And so I don't think a caterpillar would have like a heads up about like what it's going to become, right? Post death and rebirth. And so I get it. It's like no judgment. Like I genuinely don't think you knew like, oh shit, I'm about to be the eagle in this motherfucker. You know what I mean? But so perhaps Saturn retrograde is going back to allow you, because I think the things that are for you knew this was happening to you. Spiritually, things that are connected to you knew like this nigga's transforming into something they are not even aware they're about to become. So now Saturn retrograde really used it as the opportunity to go back and approach things with that ego mentality. Like I said, really great things to chat GPT. If you've never looked up like spirit animal, Scorpio, I don't need to talk to you like that, but I want you, please don't judge me if I'm like saying this, because there could be Scorpios at every level, but you guys are deeply perceptive. So deeply meditate over eagle energy, like hawks and eagle energy, really, because that's what you've become. And I think Saturn retrograde just wants you to catch up to it, because there were a lot of new things when the new world got introduced that see you as an eagle. They never saw you as a scorpion. They never saw you as someone that was gonna, I talk about my dad so much on this channel, but I mean, one of the things that he, like Aquarius would always, like his Aquarian daughter would gift him, is that like, I always saw him as an eagle, Our raggedy ass Sagittarian mom was always like, fucking, he's a scorpion, he's gonna sting you, he's gonna burn you. But with my dad, I just always saw his like massive wisdom, his huge vision, I really always saw that. And I always felt like my dad could really guide me really well through life. Truly, I did. In just his own unique way. He's super different than me. He has a very individual path for me, but I always had so much respect for it, because he really rooted it in, and my dad was the one, and it's funny I'm talking about going on tour, but my dad is the one who instilled that in me. Like, my dad's a road dog. After he had his stroke, me and him, like, there were a lot of things you have to do to like rehabilitate, because we were doing like spiritual rehabilitation. We weren't just doing like the doctor's orders rehabilitation. So there's a lot of funny things that I feel like you want me to tell you just about, like, but me and my dad were the only ones really like locked in, when like nobody really was like around like to help my dad. Like, my dad's left-handed, mind you. So he does everything with his left side. So he's like left dominant, and the stroke attacked his left side. That's why I have like, my left side is so like my dad. Like, all of my spiritual markings are like my left and right side of my body are very like mom, dad frequencies. So I do a lot of work on my left side, because I know I can have attacks. Like, I got, a lot of that passed down. So when he dropped to the floor, had a stroke, he lost feeling in all of his left side. So his rehabilitation was even worse, because if you have a stroke on the side where like you're dominant, that means you're gonna have to like, he had to relearn how to like write, how to like shit like that. So we were like, I learned I was ambidextrous for many years in my life, because me and my dad were like learning. I would just redo handwriting with him. Another thing we did for rehabilitation is we would just road trip across America. Me and my dad, my grandmother's, he would just take us, and we would just like road trip everywhere. Missouri, Colorado, Arizona, Utah, just everywhere. Just fucking everywhere. We just road trip, because driving really helped him as well. Rehabilitate. So maybe, like I said, as you're transforming with Scorpio, maybe it is kind of like a death and rebirth, right? Like, there were physical ailments, or there were things that you were going through internally that really tried to signify that you are not the same anymore, that you are reborn. So maybe that's why I'm transparently sharing you that. But like, some of my fondest memories in my childhood were just like getting to spend time with like I said, I love the elderly, and I also love like individuals who are like differently bodied, or like people who have disabilities, because like, I really learned to like, I spent so much quality time with him while he was like rehabilitating. And I think like those are some of the best years of my life, because, my mother like kind of removed him from my life in a lot of ways, unfortunately. And so I was always really glad for our one-on-one time, and it was just us in the open road, and it was just us like we just love America. Like, my dad and I, like, we genuinely, and it's because, he's like, about 50% of his lineage is like truly like native indigenous, and so just Turtle Island for him is like really where it's at. So he really taught me that, to connect with the spirit of things. And he's a really mountain ass guy. Like, my dad like loves Colorado. It's like one of the places, California, like mountainous regions. He's just like always trying to take us to the mountains all the time. He's like we would just go stay. He's like a timeshare ass dude. He was like timeshares in Vegas. We go timeshare in Vegas. We go to timeshare in like Branson, Missouri. We go to fucking, like I said, proper Colorado. We tear it up. Like, so all of that to say, like, I feel like perhaps that's like things that are like coming up for you. But I just kind of have this feeling like the death and rebirth that you went through might have also been kind of physical. And, you know, sometimes if you only take the, like, especially if you like live in the globalized West, if you're a Scorpio who lives there, you know, sometimes it's really symptom based, the way that they sort of adjudicate what's wrong with you. You might have been like really scared, like, oh shit, like a stroke, right? But I'm really grateful that my dad is, you know, a high ranking spiritual person, because I think he was really able to also have his own sort of processing of what was going on top of like respect to all medical practitioners. These are medicine men and women as just all the same. But outside of capitalism, when money isn't fueling something, you do get very different prognosis. And, you know, my dad is very big on like a lot of Eastern spiritual philosophies as well. So it's, you know, a lot of it was about, you know, reconnecting with his own body. And I just think that this next 5 months, you are going to come out, like, I'm really seeing you, Scorpio. You're going to get some of the most deep healing from this new truth, from this new identity. Like, I think it's, and maybe it's not even that there's an ailment, but perhaps like you feel, like I said, Scorpio, another big thing is like, you know, you might have been feeling like, you know, man, my body just feels like I just don't look the same anymore. Like, am I aging? And let me tell you one thing that'll age you faster than a motherfucker. Misalignment, you know, things that you need to outgrow. If you haven't gone through enough proper rebirths, you know what I mean? Like, when people look at me and they're like, this girl does not look 28 at all. I get it. I mean, I do look 28, but I also like, I don't think objectively, like, that's what a 28-year-old, like, I don't know if that people like see that, because I think they just see the really like youthful aspect of me. But I mean, you see it on my channel. There's just like, most of the time I'm really embracing a sense of rebirth. Like, I'm gunning for it. I'm really detached because I'm always trying to just like continually, like, I mean, just straight up like transform. You know, I'm always happy to leave an old self behind, and it's really served me. You know, when I talk about going vegan, these are things that might really benefit you. Like, I would say the next 5 months, Scorpio, because you're going from like a little critter who's like, you know, bitch, just don't fuck with me. You know, like, everybody's gonna fucking swat at a scorpion or something, or try to get it out of the house if they saw it, to an eagle, which is just, I mean, in this nation, that's the motherfucking symbol of freedom. And I just feel like you are going to be so free with your new spiritual truth, with this new concept of like being a high bird, you know? I think you really feel like, I think Scorpion's also going to really feel like they belong in the air, because you've always had this like, you know, you're the type of person that can just scan in a crowd and lock in and zero in, you know? You're looking for that connection. It's like, I see your spirit immediately, you know? And that's what my dad is like, dude. He's the type, I told you guys, I tell you this all the time. This is the type of nigga, like, we'd go on road trips, he'd like pull over the car, it'd be like, we'd be at the fucking like land of, like, we'd be at the, you know, when you enter a new state and it's like, welcome to fucking Nebraska, right? But he'd be like at the sign, and then he'd just like go up to people and he would just be like, hey, I'm supposed to talk to you. And these people would be like, yeah, you are. And they wouldn't even know him. I mean, he just had this like, this cunning sense to him that just really taught me so much about like the invisible realm. And I just think you're going to get 5 beautiful months to like really go into spirit. This is all spirit, right? This is all spirit, right? Because I think you're used to 5 of Swords as a warring situation, but I don't think you're used to 5 of Swords where it's like not stabbing someone, but just learning the wisdom. This is also kind of like, we don't have to fuck around and find out the hard way. We could like fuck around and like just think about it. You know, this is like giving yourself room and space to ponder spiritual thoughts the next 5 months. You know what I mean? Whatever they may look like for you. But I have a feeling, like I said, the eagle is just more respectful. Like, I think too, Scorpions are kind of like put in a box by even being called Scorpios, to be honest with you. So if you want me to call you the Eagle Gang from here on out, I'll do it. Because I think that's another thing, is like, I think that just kind of sucks too, you know, that kind of reputation preceding you kind of frequency. And I just think that this, you see how, like I said, this new spiritual truth you can rely on. Because maybe when you walk in a room before and it's like, oh, he's a Scorpio, people already know how to manipulate the situation. They already know how to play up that whole old dynamic that was about the initiation of the 3 of Swords, right? Like, sting somebody and see if they bleed. If they bleed, they ain't for you. You know, but that, I mean, you know, and I think it's just because I think you truly have a spiritual love. Like, you've been, something tapped to your spirit, your emotional body, right? You're connecting with something for the first time that's like really like connecting and communicating to your emotions, right? And maybe that's never happening when you're always just like piercing people's hearts, you know, to see if they fucking are real or if not. You know, you're past that, because there's obviously something deep. It's deeper than that, right? I think too, because you might have looked at your old, you know, wasp nest of community and realized that like maybe before I was only ever really letting myself make connections with individuals based on just like the pure loyalty of like, they made it through the initiation I put them through, right? Which is like, they took my fucking stinger and they didn't hate it. But then you might just be with a bunch of, then maybe like you're kind of finding yourself, there's like me and all my bitches just like sit around and sting each other. And I just get that frequency. It's like, it's time to move past just like us being, you know, congregating by traumatizing one another. You know what I mean? It's time to like put some fucking raid on that fucking wasp nest and let them bitches fucking clear out. You know what I mean? Because it's not good for any of them to be this congregated in this way. And so again, all of those things for you, Scorpio, I think you're dealing with. And, you know, I'm holding like a lot of beautiful space for you guys. That's why I really wanted to come in here. I didn't want to put a time limit on it. I didn't want to do nothing. I just wanted to make sure that you had, you know, a video that you felt like really gave you just a conversational style overview of like what's going to be happening to you over the 5 months. It doesn't even have to be about specifics. It's just about what spirit wants you to understand, so that when you're going into a Saturn retrograde, which is about building these new structures, you know what position and disposition to be in when you're doing that. But I'm telling you, you can start as of July 13th. You can start as soon as right now, being the eagle and putting respect on that. You know, you really can. It's like, I'm really getting that for you. So this is such a unique message. It literally came from just me. I'm like staring at my window. If my camera wasn't literally like so delicate right now, I would turn it around and show you. Like, there was no pre-message to that. It was just like, I see Scorpio going into their ancient archetype of like the high seer. You know, you're the symbol of freedom. You are, because you've already achieved it, Scorpio. You've already transformed so much that you are so much free. I feel that way. In fact, last night, Spirit really had me, you know, communicate a truth to a Scorpio that like, when I think of them, I think of freedom. They make me feel free, you know, like just thinking of their energy makes me feel free, you know, and maybe, you know, and it's kind of like how I feel like when I think about my dad a lot is like, you know, people can judge him, or my mom, people could have had whatever they had to say about him, but he always lived really free. And I really miss that influence in my life. You know, I really wish I don't have to wish anymore. I became that, you know. Obviously, everything happens for a reason. Like, my dad's also not just, like, out of my life just because of, like, someone keeping him from me. He didn't also, like, always try to make the effort. You know, a lot of times I think he would just get so hurt by being misunderstood as the Scorpio that he would just, like, give up. But, you know, I wish I could communicate to my dad today, which I can. He's very esoteric. But I wish I always try to let him know that, like, my spirit of freedom is almost like pushes back so much just because I want to be connected to him, you know. So I feel like, Scorpio, I want to be connected to you. I really do, because you guys remind me about who I really am, you know, because my dad is a big part of my core essence, you know. The Aquarius is like the peanut, like the peanut on the inside of my M&M is a Scorpio, you know what I mean? Like, really and truly it is. And freedom is at the root of everything I want right now. It's always been at the root of everything I've wanted. And so I feel like you being allowed to kind of go for that and to know that you're seen for that, you know, rather than just someone that like people want to be like enslaved to or get addicted to the stinger. Like, I think too, you know, when I think about the wasp, I think a lot of the people, you know, they love that some people, you know, people are kind of addicted to pain. Like, a lot, you used to probably have a lot of people that were like traumatized, like actually traumatized, and it doesn't matter because they could have been successful, they could have been any type of thing, but they're like just finding ways to build, like commodify or like build around their pain instead of doing anything with it. And I think you actually worked through your pain. You know, I think you have modalities to like actually do something about the way that you feel. And so you're actually finding that you're a lot freer than that old community that you were a part of. Like, genuinely, just because you're like actually like, you're not just like the Scorpio in practice. You're like, every time you sting someone, it changes your life. Like, every time you go through a heartbreak, it like changes your whole framework. You know, every time you're betrayed, it changes your whole framework. You know, every time you reach a new success, it really is changing your life. You know, I think I'm just hearing so many Scorpios being like, no, I really like did start from the fucking bottom here, and now I'm here, you know, and I think you're really aware that that's a transformational process, and maybe people around you, like I said, would be really connected to you. Because, you know, you were kind of the pain that they wanted to keep in their life, you know, so people might bring themselves, a lot of people, and I think that's another thing that a Scorpio hates, because I hate this about people. Like, I hate when people really are still in a selfish space, like they're only around you really just to serve themselves, even if it's just from like a, man, like, I need you, you know, it still puts you in a box, right? Don't box me in, bro. You know what I mean? Don't box me in, right? Word up. That was a message. But, you know, don't box me in, and just like also keep me as like the pain that you're addicted to, or the thing that hurts too good, or it's like nice to be able to be, you know, because you're just way too dynamic for that. I mean, when we talk about the movements and the flight patterns of the eagle, it's so beautiful. It's, you know, I would suggest that for you, Scorpio, if you can in the next 5 months give yourself a weekend, more than a weekend. If you have the luxury of time, do more than that. But really go sit with yourself like in a log cabin. They're really telling me to tell you this, Scorpio. Go take yourself to like a cabin in the woods and go birding. Like just go birding and spend some time. If you can spend a couple weeks, because if you can spend a couple weeks where you're like in an ecosystem where you get to, like, okay, we're birding, there's certain hawks that live nearby, and watch their day-to-day habits. Like just spend the time, nothing, no other agenda. You with yourself, or maybe with the people you really trust or whatever, but really use it to be inwardly reflecting at this time. I think that's going to really help you see how much you've transformed in your life. Because I'm telling you, I just see also so much melting off of you. Like just it's such a new experience altogether. You are going to come out by Sagittarius season. I mean, you are going to feel, I heard 15 again. You're going to feel like it's going to be a youth that is restored, that people are going to be like, what the, because it's not going to be like some Ozempic. It's not even just about like, oh, he lost weight, she lost weight. No, it's not even that. You're going to, there's a spiritedness that I'm seeing coming out of the Scorpio archetype right now. I mean, your spirit's going to come back out. And I think it has to really do with deeply connecting to that bird. It does. The birds in general, but specifically like the hawk, birds that have to do with freedom, birds and eagles. I'm really hearing eagle because that's really what your tarot association is. But if you can observe eagles in any way, wherever you live, or however you can, if you could make some time within the next 5 months, just plan it into your schedule where it's like, I'm going to do this for me, or I'm just going to go and I'm just going to smoke a bleezy or fucking just stare and like look at how much that animal is communicating to you, because I feel like the eagle is like trying to get me to get Scorpios to like talk to it right now, because they're going to be the best spirit guide for you for your next chapter. And the next chapter is like a big one. It's like the rest of your life. Actually, it's like the age of the Aquarian. But for the age of the Aquarian, I think this would be my guidance for you, Scorpio, because they're showing me my childhood, and that's what me and my dad used to do. We'd just be in our log cabin timeshare, and we'd just be staring at birds, hanging out. My dad loves to fish too. It's kind of similar to the eagle. He's a big fisherman. And it's like all he would do. The reason my mom divorced him, he only wants to go fishing. We only family vacations we ever went on were to fish. I was like, damn, bitch. And now you don't go on no family vacations because you don't got no family. You know what I'm saying? So, Scorpio, don't let the girls. Like I said, the wasp nest is empty. Like, spirit is like swatted at all. Everybody's got to go. We got to break it up. Because I think, like I said, we can't just, that whole, I feel like that sort of passive aggressive, I hate you but I love you type of frequency, like that is super not productive after a while. And I think certain Scorpios are also getting to that age in life where it's like, it can be more about you. It doesn't have to be about like pleasing people anymore. It doesn't matter whether you're 69 listening to this or 15. You're not 15, this is 18 now, but or you're like 20, you know what I mean? Wherever you're at in your life, mid 30s, late 30s, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? You deserve this next chapter to really be about your self-preservation, and like specifically, Scorpio, build this new foundation in these next 5 months. Build this new world with connections that put your spirit first. So you don't have to do anything to do that. Just put your spirit first. So that way when you go into a room, it's not the bitches and the hoes who want to be attracted to you, because you're going to be putting that, because I'm just getting so many indigenous people frequencies. Like there's a very indigenous side of you that's going to come out. Your real roots, how your real ancestry spiritually and physically really connected with the earth is trying to come through at this time for you, Scorpio, genuinely. And I think you're so much readier to lean into that, and to realize like, man, the only thing that's really missing from my life right now, like I said, is like my own like spiritual authority, is like me letting myself be who I know myself to be, is really just like, having people put some more respect, because I think you're like fighting for respect as the Scorpion archetype. And again, they're just going to fucking laugh, snicker, and jeer and bitch you out, But if you really get to be like the eagle and you move forward with that sort of masculine principles, like, nah, nigga, you talking to the Indian chief. You ain't talking to the motherfucking chump from up the road. I run this spiritual empire. I'm really so excited for you. You're going to get some much needed solitude. I think also I'm getting that it was just so loud. So loud. And you do loud, you Tower Mars energy, you do it. You can participate, but I think quiet and much slower. And I think you need to be around a lot more fixed energy as well, because I think you're going to be able to heal really well with fixed signs. Again, Aquarian energy, Leo energy, Taurus energy, and Scorpio energy. Those are signs that would really support, I think, what you're about to do specifically in the next 5 months. If you're talking about people that would probably be going through the same thing you're going through at the same pace. Because I think right now your pacing is really important, because you're trying to learn how to be really dynamic spiritually. You're trying to learn how to, because I think this spiritual truth, there was a lot of mistrials. Like, this was trying to connect with you, but because I don't think you were understanding like the pacing in which this has to come, because you can't use the old Scorpio pace to connect with these new like spiritual bird frequencies, right? The things that the bird in you is bringing out, It's so beautiful, Scorpio. It's just like a really loving message, and I'm really glad that I got to start with you all. I mean, you just saw I just pulled it live. Spirit wanted to start with you all. But I'm really glad that I got to do that, because, oh my God, Scorpio, you came out again. You came out again. And Scorpio, it's really beautiful, because there you are, Scorpio, right? Standing in your energy. And I just feel like with the King of Cups, you've really transformed into that, I think now finally you're not in the waters of your emotion. Your water is in your hand. Your emotions are in your hand. I feel like wherever you're at in your life, Scorpio, it doesn't matter what age, what cycle, you have finally come out. The wasp nest being cleared out is like, you finally come out of the cup of your emotions. I'm not my emotions. I am not, when I'm sad, I'm not sad. I had to have this conversation with my husband this morning. I was like, Dennis, what is it about water signs, bruv? You guys are not what you're actually like feeling. You're not the feeling in and of itself. And I think the King of Cups is just telling you that. He's finally like, I'm the King of Cups. I'm not the cup. I'm the King of Cups. I am the person holding my emotions experience. So if you're around someone and they trigger you, you're not the lash out, right? Which is where they could have got you to stay in the soup, in the wasp frequency, in the stinger frequency, right? You're just the person having that experience. And so now you get to have some emotional maturity, especially when it comes to things like love too. Like when love like really awakens you or penetrates your heart, you feel love for someone, but I think because like you think you're this unstable thing, especially if it's new love, right? Or because this is like new love. This is like, Scorpio, the universe wants to is trying to balance your situation by giving you this creative new beginning. You have 2 aces out, right? Ace of Swords and Ace of Wands. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. This is a creative new beginning that's meant to balance you out, Scorpio. Meant to balance out all the times that you didn't get emotional acknowledgement, that you were really wounded at an emotional level. I woke up and I had to deal with that. One of the things that I was reflecting on was that, like, I transparently say this, but like I spent most of my life like being deeply rejected by people. And I know that people don't think like when you're bullying someone or when you leave them negativity that it's shaping their life and their psyche, but it is, because I'm an example of it. Like I just have had one too many, specifically I'm talking like romantic partners, but even just friendships or close family members. It's like I used to get so much rejection energy, like harsh rejection, that it has really affected me, that like when I'm dealing with like love, sometimes I'm not even dealing, like I have a handicap right now. It feels like on my ability to feel connected to people, like I'm married to my husband 8 years, but like I tell him all the time, like I'm still really wounded because I still have to rely on him telling me that he loves me, because I don't, like there's so much of me like in my psyche that still believes like no one likes black girls though. Like no one's actually attracted, because in the age of Pisces, there was a lot of like falsity. Like people would like be really racist against groups of people. No one's actually racist, like, right? Black women are just as attractive as any other demographic of women that exists, right? But we were disproportionately through colonization, through white supremacy, we were fed a lie, which is like, you might not be attracted to people who look different than you. That's not natural. And it is natural, right? It's going to be natural. We're all the same, right? Underneath the skin, underneath the flesh suit. So it would be very natural to be attracted to someone who's diverse from us, right? But when we're fed that and indoctrinated with white supremacy, there are certain groups of people that we're told we don't like, even if you might really like them naturally. And so I know I'm really affected because I went through puberty like during the late 2000s and the early 2010s. Rough time, to be like, especially to become like be a black woman and to be trying to like feel connected to that identity. It's like really hard for me, to be in a time where people were just so racist and vicious and like hated women, and that was like the public discourse, not in truth, but they were just like acting like that. And I feel like if I can tell you anything, like that's what I had to go through today. It was just like, I had to communicate to people that I just for more transparency, like I really love you, and I'm learning a lot about myself. I'm learning that obviously like instead of like warring or lashing out or stinging or just disconnecting altogether, because like I can literally see people that are for me, and if I see them just like with someone else, I've just learned to take it as face value. Like I've been so wounded to just over rely on my eyes per my mother wound, that like it's not good for someone as spiritual as me, because people are like, girl, why are you insecure right now? Like, I'm locked into you. And I'm like, I wouldn't know, because I just feel like they may not know that I can't feel it because of years of numbing myself, years of people like lying to my face where they were saying, no, this is true, I don't like you, Alexis. So I was like, okay, my guy best friend doesn't like me. Okay, I hear that, Or my mom's like, your dad's a narcissist and he doesn't like you and Sherman. Okay, so I just took that, even though that's the opposite of the truth. And I'm really having to go back for myself right now and like re-heal that, because my dad could have never stopped liking me. Like, his life is not better because I'm out of it, you know what I mean? But I was really trained to believe that people are like better off without me. And so that's what's really affected my ability. For the people that are for me, they really like notice that about me. It's like, why do you, I'm serious. Like, when I was talking about that tower moment I had with Dennis the other day during the Sirius portal, it was just because like, you'd said something that really triggered me. But it was just like about another woman that was really close to me. And it just felt like one of the biggest betrayals about like him being attracted to another woman. And it was just like, it didn't really matter, because like I said, I'm like really like not here to chain anybody, but it did just kind of undermine, like it just really triggered up that I was like, right, yeah, you don't like me. Right, yeah, you don't. I can be with someone for 8 years and this man is deeply committed. We've never been anywhere out. We don't even wander. Not even kind of. We don't have that kind of relationship where it's like we don't put a leash on each other, because it's like that deep. And I can be in like the deepest relationship and it's like, I wouldn't know, I still somehow just like really question it, even though it should be a natural feeling. And so maybe that's you, Scorpio, because I feel like that's the Scorpio in me that's like, I don't know how you feel. And it has to do from a wound. And I think when you have this spiritual, when you get this message from spirit, this literal message that's like, you're the eagle now, soar, seriously, I think it's going to help you float above the wounding of when you were in the trenches in the Scorpio underworld. It's going to help you come up out of the underworld and come back to the open world. And then you're going to be able to really connect deeply and know like, oh, they had nothing but undying love for me. They had nothing but true care for me. I had nothing to freak out about. And you won't lose anything that's for you. It doesn't matter how difficult it's been. You never will. But yeah, there's a soulmate, I feel, that's here to rebalance in a physical way and give you a creative new beginning that you're meant to start with them, These are partnerships that really, they always had love. They have nothing but, like, I'm also seeing, like, hella flowers. Like, you have a lot of flowers, like, physical flowers. Maybe there's, like, a lot of flowers you were giving. I was like, look at all these flowers. Like, I want to give you a flower. I want to give you a flower. Date vibes, 6-6 energy. Hey, big sixers, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's a lot of 6-6 energy here, It's just beautiful. It's a lot of soulmate frequencies with that. So I'm really excited for you, because I love a King of Cups. Like, look how good you look, Scorpio. That's what you're going to be. This lover sees you as the eagle. They didn't see you as the little raggedy ass fucking small fry stinger toxic bitch. They see you as an eagle. And maybe you had to ascend to like the love, and maybe you had to go, maybe they sent you through a transformation. But it's like, oh my God, you're the first person in my life that has ever seen me as an eagle. And that's something my dad would always tell me. He's like, of all 4 of his children, his daughter, Alexis, was like, he knew I was a gift to him. I was, and I hope I make him proud with the legacy I'm leaving. One day when he gets to know what Tethered Studios is, and that it honors, excuse me for getting emotional, but that I really made this to honor him. Because my dad is a genius, and he never got credit for it. He's written so many books that don't get acknowledged, And I hope that when people see Alexis Ray Morningstar, they know who Sherman Ray Taylor was, I just hope he feels that, I don't know, Scorpio. It's like, I hope you feel my love, because you really deserve it, You really, really, really deserve it. Because maybe I felt it, like last night I felt the need to really reach out to a Scorpio that I like really deeply, like, I care about. They remind me so much of my dad. But you do so much on the spirit realm, and people don't know it because people are asleep. And that I know what that feels like. As an Aquarius, I know what it feels like to like be doing so much work spiritually and energetically for people, and they're like, you're like looking at them, they're not even knowing that you're like trying to save their life right now with what you're giving them and your vulnerability. So thank you for being vulnerable. Like, I'm being vulnerable right now because I want to thank you for being vulnerable. Because I don't think a lot of people right now are awake enough to give you back what you really deserve. But you, like, deserve the world because you've been doing work just by being born a Scorpio for spirit your whole life. And maybe you didn't even know. But Aquarius really sees you. So Aquarius is over here like, God. I mean, Aquarius just accepts that it's just going to be a hard knock life because they just don't get the wisdom. But you are the truth, you know. My dad was really telling the truth his whole life. And, you know, we got people's names to clear. Scorpio, I'm always going to clear your name. I promise you that. One thing about me, I'm going to be fucking loyal to the Scorpio. My dad, he treated me like a proper princess. He's the only reason I knew what kind of man to go for in life that was going to treat me like a princess. And I have it. He took care of everything I ever really needed before I even knew I needed it. And he gave me a sense of adventure. And it was like anything was possible. But he always rooted it back to spirit and nature. And I just think Scorpios do that in such a beautiful way. So, proud of you guys. So get your recent past. Oh, Scorpio. You got the messaging. Look at this. This is eagle communication. Because I don't think you knew you transformed. But they can finally, you had to transform into the eagle. You literally, it was painful too. To go for, I don't even know what the transformation process would be to go from Scorpio to eagle. But you just did that. And that's why the communication was able to come in. I think you were wondering why it was blocked. But it was like, I think you were clutching on to Scorpio because you didn't know what you were becoming spiritually. You had no clue. So you weren't letting go of like your Scorpion identity. And it was like blocking this lover that's like here to like give you back all of these. Look how many flowers. It's like flowers. You've done so much. You have no idea how much you've done for the world. You have no idea. And it finally gets to come through, and I'm getting it gets to come into your heart finally. It's like I feel like you woke up today and it's like, oh, what? I didn't even expect this. And I think as long as you were thinking this was a Scorpion dynamic, right, about the fucking piercing back and forth, I think you thought you were warring with something that was always floating all the way above that and was just always, they stayed connected to you because they know. And I really hope that for myself. I hope this year that there are ways that me and my father can, there are certain goals that I have for myself that I hope that I can present this back to him as a gift, because he doesn't deserve to feel like he failed as a parent, because it's the farthest thing from the truth. I'm a fucking proper badass because of that, man. And it's important for me to keep arcing back to the things that I feel like I was taking advantage of. But yeah, in the recent past, I think there's something that just hit you, and you know your spiritual truth now. Like this person coming back and sending you this communication through and this isn't even fake, this is like in a physical way. I think you woke up to some communication that's like, what? I know I've changed. I know I'm something different. I'm able to heal. And I'm getting the truth that God just showed you. It healed you instantly. Literally healed you instantly. It healed you so instantly. You are like, you're ready to start the new beginning. You're like, here's whatever to start the new beginning with you. Period. Scorpio. What? Scorpio. Crowning your message. You're the eagle. King of Swords. You know what I mean? Because it's like this person speaks to your King of Cups, but they want you to be, I'm getting you're in your spiritual chief energy. You know what I mean? You're a chief. I just keep getting like, you're the fucking chief of the town. Like chief energy. Like, you know, the type of nigga that you go to for like anything. You know what I mean? It's not grimy. It's not low vibrational. It's not the hitman. No, it's like, I'll protect, you're the King of Swords now, Scorpio. So much king energy. King. 3 kings out right now. Scorpio. King. And I have a feeling that you're finally recognizing all the ways that you're a king out in the world. Because I think you're building a new type of empire, but from the new spiritual ranking that you have. Congratulations to you. Genderless, of course, but congratulations to you, because this is your king. You have so many kingdoms now. And I think this the right messaging coming from the right person will do that to you, right? The right truth being spoken from the person that you really need to hear it from. So good. Let's look at your near future, Scorpio. Surrendering to spirit. Like Saturn retrograde is going to be like so enjoyable for you, because the world, like I said, is going to be turned up in intensity, like at a collective level. Like you might hear everybody being like, we're all going through it, right? But for Scorpio, that's like the normal intensity of your life, because you're like death and rebirth, you know what I mean? So when that gets turned up, you actually really enjoy it. Like I feel like you're going to just spend the next 5 months just like rolling with the homies. And the homies are you and eagles. It's not even bitches anymore. It's like just you and birds. Like I'm telling you, you're going to have so much joy in your solitude. You're going to really, for the first time in your life, really enjoy spirit just taking, because this reflected love coming into your life, it's the type of love where you're like, I'm good wherever you want to take me. And those kinds of loves, like, it's like, let's get on the open road and go. Whatever. Let's just do it. Type of thing. And you're totally, and when you're in a surrender like that, I mean, you make the best judgment calls. When spirit is the one driving, you make the best judgment calls. Like the best things happen to you, when you're in a surrendered flow state. But I think you don't even know flow. I don't, Scorpio. I don't think you know flow yet. And I think the eagle is such a beautiful bird, like the hawk, like that vision, that spiritual, like, just vision that just you have. I think you need to be able to just flow and glide through the mountains. I'm telling you, it's going to be so cathartic for you. If you can find your way to any proper, I'm getting log, cabin, mountainous region. You ain't got to go far. There's mountains in a lot of places proper. Hill, countries in a lot of places proper. But, you don't got to do the most whatever. But it's really just about getting to meditate on the movement of the bird, because it'll help you understand what kind of dynamics you need to have in this new phase. But it's so beautiful, because this is the wind in your sails. Whoo, spirit. You're about to have spirit. The wind in your sails is about to be spirit, because you're about to sail forward for the first time, it feels. After a long time of just feeling like I'm in a tight pickle. I can't even, it's like I can't even sit up. I can't even. And I think this is your metamorphosis. This is what the caterpillar would be going through in the larva, right? Before it becomes a butterfly. This is like your Scorpio before it becomes an eagle. It's like you can't even move. It was so tight in there. You're the snake, But someone communicating to you that, like, if they could go above all the things you've put them through and all the stinging and the initiations you put them through and still communicate their truth, their loving truth to you, then you can become the eagle. And I think you got that today on July 13, 2025. Scorpio, congratulations to you. Seriously, so beautiful. You're surrendering it. You're making the judgment call to surrender it, Because your current disposition is, there's an empress that you're aware of now that you feel locked outside of. Because of some opportunity you took, that it's like, I'm at a distance from my own empress, right? Which is my counterpart to like run the empire, the feminine version of the empire runner, And if you're trying to become an emperor in your own right, you need to be not locking yourself out of reflected mirrors that give the feminine principle, because every empire needs a masculine ruler who will build, whatever, take instruction, and then we need the empress conceptualizer. But you can't be at a distance from the concept. They gave you the concept, and it looks like you're like outside of that at this time. So Saturn retrograde is going to allow you to move back towards that. Super beautiful. Super fucking beautiful. Are you kidding me? Because I think outside of you, your Queen of Swords sent you a message of love. She came to you and she said, hey, I don't know if this ruins your day, makes you happy or sad, but I feel freedom when I see you. That's my truth. And I want to tell you, Scorpio, like, when I see my dad, when I think about certain Scorpios in my life that I wish I could, like, I stopped making excuses and said, like, no, Alexis, your love would make a difference, so just give it. And I gave it. I don't know the outcome of it, but I think it's just good that I sent it out anyways. I think it's just, like, good for anyone to receive love, for free. But I just feel like a counterpart came up to you and said, and it helped you realize, like, that's my fucking future empress. Because when you really needed it, they happened to just say they said a truth that, like, they see freedom, and that's where your soul's calling you the freedom of the eagle. So when you talk about people that you can build a future with, you'd be vetting them out if they could see freedom in you. And maybe a lot of the people that really want to be around you right now like you for loyalty reasons. Like you because you're stable, but you don't want to be stable. You want to be free. In fact, people may not even know you're actually... I kind of gave this message yesterday, but there's a lot of people in the collective right now that people don't know. They're ready to like drop it all. Like you might be someone who, like I said, it could be people in position of power, but so many people are ready to like not be responsible for all of it anymore because they have enough, right? Like when we're actually like filled up on ourselves again, we're not building these lives where we have to build and create and do too much. Like you're not actually what you do. So once you get enlightened to that at a conscious level, especially for masculines at this time, once you become aware that you're not actually like what you do, oh my God, do you know how things change for you? It's like, oh shit, what was I doing? I'm not like what I have. I'm me, you know? And so you need a lot less. And you don't feel the need to manage a lot less. And then you start getting higher quality people around. They start filling up so much more of your cup that it's like, oh, we don't have to go anywhere, you know? And right now I kind of set the example with Dennis, and I think there's a lot of people that look at us and they're like, dude, I wish I could be as free as you guys. And I think a lot of people see that in me. A lot of people look at me and see the Scorpion in me and they're like, dude, you're so free though. And I don't want you to think that it's the grass is greener over here because I'm shackled by responsibilities. Even if they're like luxurious responsibilities, they're still fucking things I have to deal with. I don't own my 24 hours a day. Everybody needs me, you know? And right now I'm owned by no one. And I'm able to see really clearly right now, like who's for me, because I own all 24 hours of my day. And I need to start viewing that as the power that is. And Scorpio, I think like, oh my God, it's your lover, bro. It's like just your true lover. Because only a true lover would bring you this spiritual truth when it looks like you were so done with something. I think you're masking it because I think you're around a bunch of unconscious energies. They're old energies that are misaligned to you. So they don't know you're done. But on the inside, you're like, I can't wait to be done with all this. This is so not me anymore. It's just not me anymore. You know, you're so ready to surrender to spirit in the near future, you know? You're so ready to like invest equally in things that'll give back to you. You don't want to do that Scorpio thing where you're just taking care of people because Scorpio has that wound where they feel like they have to do like toxic bondage because they actually feel like people don't really like them. Kind of like what I was telling you. It's like paying for friends or like paying for partners to keep them in your life and stuff. Like really love costing you. But you're now realizing like there's actually love being extended to me that wants to give me something for what I would be giving them equally. And you're really only interested in that. Scorpio, you're really only interested in that now. It's like, again, once you ascend certain consciousness, you can't go back to a smaller consciousness, a previous consciousness. In the fear space, yeah. In the fear space, Scorpio, I think you always feared, like, you know, when it's time for me to, I think it just sucks because I think when you go into creating something new or standing in your own ability to, like, I don't think you used to feel like you had trust in how you would build your life up because you thought you would just be burdening yourself. But I'm here to tell you, like, the burdens and the judgment that you got were not fair. They were discrimination. And your spirit guides want you to know you didn't deserve any of that. No, you never deserved any of that. All those wounds that you carry, you didn't deserve. Not a single one of them. They did burden you. And the reason we're bringing you this mercy and this benevolence, this lover, this person who's like, dude, you know, I'm really spiritually connected to you. I just want to build something beautifully spiritual with you, is so that they can help heal this irrational fear. Because this is me being like, I want to like you, but I'm sure you don't like me. I'm sure you wouldn't even think I was attractive, you know? And it just feeling really burdening. And then this is like the overgiving because you're scared that people won't stay. If you're scared that someone won't stay, the first thing you should do is just let them go. Freedom. This is introducing freedom into your relationships, into your, right? Because oh my God, did I not just say that? Look what's at the bottom of the deck. I said, if you're scared that you might lose something, instead of overburdening yourself, let it go. Because if it leaves you, it might hurt, but it's like, losing something that's not for you really won't hurt. 90% of the time we get stuck in the mind, and I feel like Scorpio was stuck in the mind during this transformation a lot because they didn't know how to let stuff go because they were trying to control, right, the outcome. And we're really working on letting go of control for the collective and surrendering to spirit during the Saturn retrograde, right? Surrendering to spirit. And we're really doing that for the reason that, you know, we have to know the truth. You don't know the truth if you're controlling it all the time. You don't really know if that partner's for you if you can't let them go, you know? But I think this Queen of Swords that came into you, you like let them go immediately, because I think you had a feeling that it was like something completely deeper or something. I mean, you see them as like, wow, but it's also like, I need to like let them go. And I think they taught you like, oh, I can free fall. I think specifically this relationship taught you how to free fall, and it stayed right in your life. It never went anywhere. So now I think it is actually that like your spiritual transformation is kind of owed to whoever initiated you in your truth. Because you're like, dude, if it wasn't for you and how this relationship literally went, I would have never gotten something that I really needed to break free from, which is like, I can just free fall into life, into love, into connecting, into whatever's for me. I can just walk through the day. I don't have to have a rigid plan. I don't have to know how it's going to work out at all. And you actually learn that from this soulmate that's reemerging in your life at this time. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. This is that healing that you're going to be able to finally be able to discern slowly but surely. Trust me, you will get there. By the beginning of Sag season, you will look back at this video and be like, holy shit, those 5 months with that new life and that new love and that new level of surrender really helped me get my discernment back, because everything that's for you is always waiting right on you. It can't come out of alignment with you. It's by God's design. It can't come out of alignment with you at all. So you're able to just, this is like someone who's finally able to be like, you know what? New person wants to come into my life. I'm the eagle, right? So you're going to put your blindfold on. You want to be in my life? That's fine. You check in with your intuition first, and you just, if your sword comes down and it slices them, you don't even care anymore. You're like, great, sorry, you got to go. You clash with my spiritual truth. If your sword comes down and it's like nothing, it doesn't conflict, you're good to begin. And to get your discernment back. That's how I felt. Like, I felt like this morning when I woke up, something cleared off my heart chakra where it was like, I'm allowed to have my discernment again. Like, I should just speak my truth. I shouldn't care about controlling it. I should just speak my truth and know that it'll be effective if they're really for me. But I have that freedom now. And because you are freedom, Scorpio, like, that's what you are. And that's your new truth, is you are freedom. You're not the king or queen of the underworld. You're freedom. Because you're free when you let yourself transform out of things that are no longer fitting you. The snake is free when it comes out of the old skin instead of just staying in it when it's obviously itchy and gross. You free yourself from that. And I feel like you really have. And I'm really, really proud of you. This has been like the most amazing hour I have ever given a message for. So I'm really proud of you. Like I said, you are everything your inner child knew you were going to be. And I really hope you spend the next 5 months loving on that little human inside of there and really reconnecting with it. It'll do wonders for the planet. It'll do wonders for your skin. It'll do wonders for your cortisol levels. But I think Saturn is going to give you plenty of time to do the proper love thing that you always deserve to do. So thank you for just dropping me in and like giving, like really showing me, Scorpio, like how gifted and special I am and how much I love my alone time. I'm really looking forward to the next 5 months just to get to be with myself and do the tour. My tour is super unique. It's like actually just like an internal tour. It's not like about performing at people. So I'm really excited because I get to do a lot of writing. I've really wanted to have the time to do. I don't even have like a computer anymore. So I'm just excited to be able to type again and, finish some books that I have, been really working on over time. And yeah, so I'm really excited. Like I said, I'm with you, Scorpio, in the ether right now. We're on the mountain and we're looking at birds and we're smoking bleezies moderately and just enjoying being really filled up by just breathing alongside this new transformative community that just sees us for our real truth. So I love you guys so much. Happy July 13th to you. Again, Saturn will be retrograding through Aries and Pisces all the way through November 27th. So I think this is like the gift you really needed at this time because you were so ready for freedom. And Saturn retrograde helps you build a life around that new truth. So always sending you my love. Thanks for just really like always making me feel really protected, loved, and safe. Scorpio, your sign really does that for me. You guys are like my birth father's archetype, and I really have a lot of love for my dad. So You guys are awesome. Okay.